Hi Aries, welcome to your August 2016 love reading. Reina, present and accounted for. Shuffling cards. Kind of shaking out the cobwebs here. Fire, fire. More fire. Wow, just got that card in the same position for Pisces. Okay, very interesting. So, the overall energy is the Page of Wands. This can be a message that you receive that really is something that stirs your passions. And in a love reading, obviously, I would think it would be a romantic message. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone call. It can just relate to a fire sign in general. So an Aries, fellow Aries, a Leo, Sagittarius individual possibly, or somebody who has that fiery temperament and possibly has it as a signature in their natal chart. It can be somebody who's younger than you. Pages can be children, but it can be a very youthful type of an energy or somebody who is younger than you. And, you know, it's just it can also represent a new relationship that you've been involved with. When I see wands, there is a lot of sexual chemistry happening, a lot of passion in that. And sure enough, when we look at the recent past, we have you leaving something else. Maybe you were in an incompatible situation. Maybe there was a lot of fighting or bickering, and it was too negative a situation. It could have been with a swords individual, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Libra is your opposite sign. A lot of times we see that polarity play itself out. But in any case, that is, you know, why now you have something else. And, you know, for people that fell in love when they were still involved with somebody else, it's not like this person has stolen you away. You were already gone, you know, except in the actual physical body, and now you are going. Or maybe you made up your mind that you're going to be going in the recent past, and you haven't yet done it, but you're going to do it. What we have in the present is a feeling of being overwhelmed by your circumstances. Maybe this has to do with your work life, actually. For some people, it could be that you feel like you have too much on your plate because, let's say that you haven't left, and you may feel like, I can't leave. I have children, I have responsibilities, you know, and it may not just be work, it may be other things. Maybe you're taking care of your parents, maybe there's all kinds of possibilities. But you feel like there's so much happening, so much on your plate that you're afraid that you're going to get burned out. It just has this feeling of you working very hard. And then we get the Hermit. I wonder why this is, it's so like staticky. I wonder if it's because I'm in dark conditions. But the Hermit is all about going within, which is kind of, not exactly the typical MO of an Aries individual. So it could be, I don't want to say that you're isolating yourself, but you may be so busy doing whatever it is that you need to do that you just don't have time to socialize. And, if there's somebody that you have fallen in love with, you may feel like you don't want to see anybody else. You don't want to, if you're still married, for instance, you don't want to go to family gatherings or any kind of things where you promote this idea that you're still a couple because you've already made it up your mind that you're leaving. But the Hermit may just mean that you're internalizing a lot of things right now. So you're just kind of going over in your mind what you're going to do. And maybe either if you have done it, if you have left, you may be very busy now trying to, scramble to make ends meet in some cases, or just to be able to take care of everything that you need to take care of. Maybe you're in a new place and you don't know, maybe you're in a new town, maybe you've moved away. The Six of Swords indicates movement. Whether it's far away or not, I don't know. But there's some reason why you're feeling kind of harried. And it's causing you to maybe just be more thoughtful about your life. And the higher message is the Seven of Wands. And as I said to Pisces, but of course it's different for you because you have a different type of way of coping with life. The Seven of Wands is about defending yourself. And for Aries, I feel like Aries doesn't have a problem defending itself, usually. Sometimes you always get Aries people that allow themselves to be taken advantage of in relationships and even to be mistreated. Why is that the case? Well, we can look astrologically and maybe you have a lot of Pisces in your chart. Maybe you have this, maybe you were treated that way when you're growing up and you're just wired or programmed to believe that you deserve it. And even though you're an Aries, and Aries tend to be very self-confident, you, for some reason, don't have that. And so what I want to say to you about the Seven of Wands is that as you proceed in the future, if you have extricated yourself or are about to extricate yourself from a negative relationship, just remember in the future to always, check in and make sure that you're being treated the way you deserve to be treated. Do not ever allow anyone to dishonor you. And I don't mean, that I'm not saying that if somebody insults you ever, that it automatically means that they are a bad person. No. I'm talking about habitual debasement is what it really is. People who speak to you consistently in a tone that is just, it's not just disrespectful. You can tell that they don't have, a basic appreciation for who you are. Or people who make fun of you, who do not encourage you, who discourage you, who say you can't do something. Who are you to think that, your dreams can come true? There are many different ways that people are negative influences on our lives. And nipping it in the bud is the best way. And it's always about honoring yourself. And even though the Seven of Wands is, connected to defending yourself, I look at it as honoring yourself because you don't want to be defensive. You don't want to be the person who's always quick to feel like they're being threatened. You always want to have a sense of self that you're okay the way that you are, and that you don't have to explain yourself or defend yourself. But on the other hand, sometimes people can get into our heads very, very subtly. And before we know it, we're questioning ourselves all the time. And I remember reading this one book about toxic people. And one of the things that they said to kind of give you an idea if you're dealing with a toxic person is, when you're engaging with this person, do you oftentimes feel like you have to defend yourself? Okay, and that's what this card represents. And so that's another thing that this may be saying, is that if you always feel like you have to explain yourself or defend yourself, and the other person acts like they don't get you, and there's a derisive quality about it, then that gives you a clue as to you know, the dynamics in this relationship and whether or not it's productive. Because you know what? I mean, life is so short. Why should we spend it with people that will consistently act like, you know, we're off the wall, they don't get us, always trying to engage us into defending ourselves, into explaining ourselves? No. When you're with a person that you're in resonance with, it's like, you know, putting on an old pair of jeans that just fit. They're broken into the, you know, the right places. You don't have to explain yourself. And it's not that that other person is kissing your butt 24/7 either. And it's not that they're going to be a parrot and agree with everything you say. It's all about just a basic sense of affinity with one another. And so, yeah, so that's what you need. And you know, as a fire sign, you need somebody who is positive more than the average person, more than the average sign. You know, you are incredibly positive, and so you're really good at inspiring other people to, you know, be passionate about what they're into. So you need to have the same in your life. And if somebody is kind of like sucking your energy, then that is not going to give you a good attitude, and it's not going to, you know, make you, you know, be that infectious person that you typically are. What crosses you is the Fool card. I always associate this card with Aries anyhow, but it's actually, I don't think it's associated with a particular sign, but it is associated with Uranus, which, you know, is one of the rulers, along with Saturn, of Aquarius. However, I mean, I really do think it is kind of like an Aries kind of a vibe. Remember, April Fools, that is like on April 1st, it's Aries, it's during Aries. But anyway, what crosses you, I feel, is impulsivity, which is something that a lot of you struggle with. You're the first sign of the zodiac, so you have a me first attitude. Some people accuse you of being childish and self-centered. And most of you may shrug and say, yeah, I am. Oh, well, because it doesn't really bother you. You're not easily offended or easily, you know, just kind of flustered when it comes to something like that. However, what I'm talking about, when it's not just being self-centered, but that sense of impatience. And that leads you a lot of times to make rash decisions. And one of the things that is so irresistible about Aries is your spontaneity. And the Fool card represents the idea of going off on a journey. the hero's journey, I guess. But with a knapsack, not much, no baggage on with the person. An adventure, totally Aries. Totally all about the journey, not about the destination. About all the adventures that you're going to get into on the way. But sometimes you have to, when you're dealing with relationships, you have to exercise a bit of caution, because you can get into a really hairy situation right quick. And so this means that when you have this passion, the aces represent that the beginning of something new, and you love beginnings, Aries. You love, you are such great catalysts. Not necessarily do you like to complete projects. You may have about 6 uncompleted things right now that you've, started, but you love to start things. So if you can hook up with somebody like in business who is really a practical person, and they can kind of do the day-to-day, you can be this great person to get things launched. And in relationships, you love that initial stage, being in love, that euphoria. And then when it starts to get routine, you start to get a little bit bored. And so that can lead you to jump from relationship to relationship sometimes in the quest for the newness. Unless you find that person who can consistently enthrall you and keep you on your toes. And those people are out there. So I think the Fool card is just saying, be careful of just wanting to jump into things and not looking at the long term, because get with the wrong person and it can be a lot harder to get out of. It's easy to get into things, it's a lot harder to get out of them. And you know what? I forgot, because this was kind of hidden. I wanted to tell you about this card before I talk about advice. This is the influence around you. So this kind of reiterates this Ace of Wands. It sounds to me like some of you are having a passionate affair, or at least if it's not in the physical sense, you're feeling very physically attracted to somebody, and you're also feeling emotionally attracted, like you're in love with them. It could relate to the actual element of water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and you are in the initial throes of that. So I definitely get the feeling that some of you are in love because of that card. Now, the advice for all of this, and this is a great advice, is yes. Just say yes. Instead of, just say no. Just say yes. This is a yes-based universe. So say yes to things. And Aries does say yes to things, but this is also fire, because it's the ruler of Leo. In August, a lot of August is Leo time. So this may be indicating the period of time when this love is, just exploding. It's a very, very positive card, number 19. Very positive. 19 reduces to 1, which is the beginnings of something. It's the Sun card relates to love, because Leo is the ruler of the 5th house of romance, but it can be, by the way, in August, when the Sun is in Leo, the Sun is in your 5th house of romance. So it's going to be there anyhow. So maybe this is dovetailing with the astrological transit or transits. And there will be a new moon there on the 2nd, I believe. So that could be a time when you start to light someone's fire or they light your fire. And everything is coming up roses for Aries in August. Very nice angle to your sun or your ascendant. The outcome is the Six of Pentacles. Now, notice I talked about this card, about feeling weighted down. A lot of times, also, the Ten of Wands can indicate this unfair situation where you're pulling somebody else's weight. You're kind of doing too much and not getting enough. It's not balanced, in other words. And this is about balance. If you look, he's holding scales. It does relate to, material things as well because of the Pentacles. But it can just mean that you will have a relationship that is, I just like this jumped into my mind, equally yoked, which is I've heard fundamentalist Christians talk about that, so I don't know how well that works with astrology. But yeah, not a one-sided relationship. Maybe that's what you dealt with in the past. You're a very generous sign. See, this is you. This is how you are. You're the type of person to give. But perhaps that kind of leaves you open to people that are takers. And I'm not the type of person that thinks that everything has to be 50-50. I think that that is a little bit too anal and not romantic enough. I think that if people are always keeping books about, I gave you this, you gave me this, then it's not really love. But on the other hand, you want a relationship that you feel like the other person is into it as much as you are. The Ace of Cups is about that sense of love, not just, the material side, which the Pentacles represents, not just the sexual passion, which the Wands represent, but the love. And I think that that is something that you are probably experiencing, Aries. I sure hope so. If you'd like a personal reading, you can click on the link below, but good luck to you in August. Bye.